see me from the podium if I stood behind you, but I'm just tall enough. So my name's Paul, and first of all, I was interested, how many of you have gone to a game and you haven't done Positive Impact, but just as a fan, you've been there, had a good time? Now, I really appreciate the fact that you're going to do Positive Impact and kind of forego the typical fan experience, and then you are going to go and do a leadership kind of thing and help out your fellow students, because it's not something that you have to do. So I really appreciate that. And in my couple of years being here, Positive Impact students really have been a positive impact on not only other students, but my job with the university. So, you know, if you're Positive Impact, some people could possibly look at us as negative impact. But we'll follow up administratively with students after the game. So if they've received a ticket, or even if there's some kind of documentation that comes to our office that could be in violation of the student conduct code, maybe it isn't an actual ticket from the police, but just some sort of report, we'll follow up with all the students administratively and kind of figure out what exactly happened, and you know, is there anything that needs to happen from here. So as far as that process goes, the students might ask you when you're in the game, they might say, I got a ticket, oh my God, what's going to happen? They also get a little yellow card from the officer that says you have to go to the conflict resolution office and pick up a letter and have a meeting with myself. And so they might ask you, what's going to happen? Oh my God, you're going to get suspended, and you're going to, you know, you have to take a class, or, you know, I heard about this and this and this. Always the best answer is I don't know. Because honestly, even if you ask me, I don't know what's going to happen. I will never determine the outcome of any of that without meeting with the student first and hearing their side of the story and figuring out, you know, at CSU, we don't have 3 strikes and you're out like some schools do. We don't say, okay, well, first time alcohol violation is this, second time is this. We just take each student and each situation individually, and it could be that they aren't even found responsible for violating any policy. It could be that they are suspended from school. So the range is nothing, a whole lot in between, suspension, whatever. We don't know. It totally depends on the student, the situation, the severity of it, that kind of thing. So if anyone asks you that, the best answer is, I don't know, don't worry about it right now. And that if anything else, just we're fair about it. We're going to listen to their side of the story and that kind of thing. But you know, a couple things that, as far as in your role of a Positive Impact, that you can help out with. I think discouraging. On the last slide, there's something about the increased enforcement with the police officer there. One thing that I talk about with students when they've been in trouble for like underage drinking in the game is, what kind of a decision was it to decide to try to sneak a hug or whatever you were doing in the game, where there's probably never going to be a time in your life where you're going to have more police officers looking for that. You know what I mean? So it's like not a wise decision. So if you're talking with people and they're kind of looking around and hoping they don't get caught, just try to discourage it and let them know that there are a lot of police. There are police who may not be in uniform. There are cameras. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get in trouble, and the police are specifically looking for problems with drinking and stuff because there are fights that happen and deaths that have happened, that kind of stuff. So it's like you're just kind of walking into a lion's den. Really. So it's just, if you can discourage it at all, it'll be less problems for your peers and then, you know, less work for me. I'm always going to get out of work. So that would be one thing. And then the other thing that I do at the games is I staff the detox tent up on the north side of the stadium. So how many of you have seen that area, the detox tent, before, or know what it's about? Well, it's another thing that came out of the alcohol task force after the death of Smith Spady was a safer way to deal with students who are severely intoxicated once they're inside the stadium. Rather than the police just going, hey, you're way too drunk, you got to go home, see you later, and hope they get home okay. It's a way that there's 2 tents up there on the north side of the stadium, big white tents. One is they're right next to each other. One is medical, one is the detox tent. First, what happens is an officer brings this really drunk person while they're over. They get cleared medically to make sure that there's not something that's happened that they can be to the hospital right away. If that's the case, we'll sit down with them, get their information, And the whole purpose of the tent is to figure out what can we do to get this person where they need to go safely. There's a few options. Once you get to the detox tent, you'll never go back to the stands and watch a game. We're not going to go, okay, you're all right, get back. You're going to leave the stadium, but it's where you go. So if they're being completely unruly and crazy and they won't sit down or whatever, they might go to jail. That's pretty rare. But if they're pretty drunk, we're going to have them take a breathalyzer, kind of see where their level of intoxication is at. If they're pretty drunk, but they're probably going to be okay, and they've got a sober friend who will have them check to make sure they can below zero, and that they can take them home, and the friend's willing to sign them out, and then we can escort them out and make sure that friend can take them home. So we're not going to do that. If they're really intoxicated, that 0.3 or 0.25 area, and we're worried about, we probably set up the detox so that we're not sending someone who's way over the limit with one of you or with a friend that we're worried might hurt themselves or be in danger. Probably send them either to the hospital or to detox. Or then the other option is if it's somebody that doesn't have a sober friend and we're not worried as far as like aggressiveness or like intoxication that's really detrimental to themselves, that's when we're going to call on one of you to take them home. And so we'll have you come over to the tent and sign them out and that kind of thing. One of the things that we're going to really make a priority is not to put you in a bad situation. So we will have already had a pretty good lengthy contact with this person. So if they're giving us a bunch of BS or being aggressive or anything like that, we're really going to not try to put you in that situation. If they're really way too drunk, we're going to try to not put you in that situation, not to take them home. But one thing that I would ask, if you're a positive impact group that's kind of stationed to be around our tent and available, would be one that you help us out with keeping people, like we always get these like looky-loos that are like, oh, what's going on in there? A lot of times it's like parents and like 7-year-old kids who are looking around and like, oh my God, what's going on? There's people puking on themselves and this kind of stuff. So it's not the nicest thing for people to look at, and we'll be doing usually a pretty good job of keeping people out of that area. But if you see that, if you can just ask people to back away from there. And then also if you yourselves are just hanging around inside or around the entrance of the tent, because there are times when it starts to get hectic. We've got a few drunk people in there, then we've got somebody that's, we had a guy have a heart attack one time, and that tent is right there. And so there's a stretcher that needs to get brought out. So it gets pretty active, so sometimes the less people we have right in that general area, the easier it is. So that's one thing that can help us out as well. As far as the rest of it goes, if you have any questions or need help, we've got an officer there at the detox tent as well. I'll be there for every game. So if you have any questions or need anything, that's what we're there for. And we're also, the whole purpose of contact services at the university, believe it or not, is just to make sure that we've got a safe environment for everybody else at the university, but also really the reason we want to follow up with the students for the games is to make sure that people are being transported to the hospital for intoxication for the third time, or is this kind of bad decisions to be made, and the school's going okay in general, that kind of thing. So it's really to interview and make sure the students are going to be successful. So any questions for me at all about the whole conduct process or the game, the detox man, anything like that? All right, cool, thanks.
Seemed like at least 10 people when I'd thrown them. I don't know what happened tonight. It was kind of hot dog. People never learn when to quit drinking. It's not that you don't have to drink. If you don't want to get sick, it's very simple. What you do is, here's an easy analogy for everybody. Next time you go drinking, you have to remember it's like having a party, right? But the party is in your stomach. The stomach is the bouncer. He's the door guy. You don't want to annoy him, right? Now, when you have a party, you invite your friends, you invite your family, because everyone gets along. No problems. Same thing when you have a party in the stomach. Now, if you're going to invite alcohol, stick to one group, like beer.